Hello, this is MBA Bites, a series about things you learn in business school and things you don't. I am Vin Bittencourt, and today I'm going to show you 4 of the most common types of followers in a leadership environment. Essentially, we're going to piggyback from our last episode where we profiled the most common types of leaders. So today we're going to jump into the types of followers. If you remember what we discussed about leadership in some of our recent episodes, right? Leadership takes place within 3 realms: that of the leader, of the followers, and the environment. And those 3 work together to create the dynamics and the conditions to make things right, to create not only successful teams but successful organizations, and enabling the existence of happy, rewarding, and fulfilling careers. So when those elements are not in place, or when the dynamics are bad, none of that happens. It is the responsibility of a leader to nurture the right mix of followers, because too many of the do-goody types, and then he'll run a bunch of yes people with no guts to hold him accountable, to challenge decisions, or to make any meaningful transformations. But on the other hand, too many cynic, hard-nosed, criticizing, people, and then he'll run over a toxic environment with a lot of backbiting and mistrust. So essentially, it helps to look carefully at these 4 profiles of followers to see where you land right now, right? As a follower, maybe what kind of leader you have, but as a leader, what type of followers are you nurturing as part of your mix? So here's the premise. Every person in a position of authority was once a follower or plays a followership role in some other area. Supervisors report to managers, managers report to directors, directors report to VPs, CEOs report to the board of directors, and even entrepreneurs, the bastions or symbols of independent spirit, they report to investors. So the behaviors that make a great leader also make a great follower. And understanding what it makes great followership can position you favorably for recognition, for promotion, for advancement when the time comes. Whether to fine-tune your progression from follower to leader or simply becoming a better leader, getting a grasp on the followership types will give you more tools to succeed in building better relationships. In average, a manager needs to deal with 4 types of followers based on performance strength, right? High performance, low performance, and relationship proximity, right? Close relationship and distant relationship. So what do I mean by that? In terms of relationships, some people, some followers opt to work very closely, collaborate closely with their managers, right? To talk, to discuss, to articulate things. And others choose to retreat, right? To create a more arm's length distance between themselves and their managers. So the 4 profiles are based on these 2 dimensions, right? Performance and relationship proximity. So the first type of follower is the public relations follower. In terms of relationship, public relation followers work very closely with their leaders. They are loyal, they are dedicated, they work hard to promote the leader's best interests. They're very skillful in emotional currents and reading the room and seeing who's on board with initiatives, with directives. Public relation followers are very attuned in political skills and diplomacy skills. So essentially, they are good assets for leaders to have because of their loyalty and because of their people and political skills. Even though it's good to have a sounding board or eyes and ears on the ground, a leader who surrounds himself with too many public relation follower types tend to experience declining results over time. And that is because by nature, public relation followers tend to spend too much time and energy in discussions, relationships, and not so much in execution in getting things done. In addition to that, public relation types are very political, so they tend to say yes to a lot of the things the leader says. So in the long run, that creates poor accountability on the leader's side. So that way, as bad decisions never question, they keep coming. In summary, public relation followers are really good on relationship and support, but they tend to deliver mediocre to average performance because they never challenge anything, they never question anything. They tend to protect the status quo, right? And in the long run, that never leads to meaningful transformations in the first place. The automaton follower is the typical just tell me what to do follower. It's a person who's not that skillful, is just a bureaucrat with no engagement, no particular loyalty to the leader, no specific commitment to the team's progress. For the automaton, the job is just a paycheck. Autonomous work fiercely not to change things and to do the minimum to survive. They just want to keep things as simple and stress-free as they can. As a type of followers, automatons are lifers in organizations because they tend to do really well in big bureaucratic machines that are slow to change, where they can hide behind many layers of management and behind processes. But contrary to what many people believe, companies still need automatons for a lot of rank and file positions. Many industries have constraints with high stress, low pay, high turnover types of jobs, or either because of seasonal cyclical volumes, or simply because they haven't found a way to automate those jobs yet. The hire gun type of follower is the type of follower who works really hard to master his craft and to deliver solid, high quality work. Is the type of person that over time became a subject matter expert but never bothered, in building relationships or rubbing shoulders with anybody, including their bosses. Hire guns have no patience or sensitivity to interpersonal dynamics. They are lonely wolves who perform at high level, but often wait on the sideline for clear-cut instructions on, when to do things and how to do things. Essentially, their track record on results is pretty great, but their legacy in relationships is poor. The fourth type of follower is the co-pilot. The co-pilot follower combines the best elements of the public relations and the hire gun. The same commitment for people and proximity with their leaders with the extra drive for execution and results. The co-pilot follower buys into the leader's overall vision and strategy. He's really good at persuasion, problem solving, and execution, being the ideal type of follower for any manager or leader to have. Co-pilots as followers, they love making positive impact. They're the type of followers who provide inputs and sometimes question decisions and question strategic direction. Co-pilots make independent decisions on behalf of the team. They are, truthful to the core values and the winning practices of the organization. Leaders love to have co-pilots around. Those are the type of followers they groom and develop for succession. And when leaders get promoted to bigger and better roles in the organization, they usually bring co-pilots along by promoting them. A few takeaways from this model. The leader is always responsible for shaping the environment. The environment dictates the types of followership that a leader will have. All of the four types have a purpose on specific situations. What usually creates problems is the imbalance. Having too many types of one follower can be problematic, including co-pilots. The quality of followers a leader will have depends on so many factors: organizational culture, resources, the leader's capacity to engage, to mobilize, the quality and the attractiveness of projects. But while a leader may do a great job in creating a well-balanced team with all kinds of followers, no meaningful transformations really happen without having at least one co-pilot. A well-oiled machine that leads to high performance and solid teams stems from three factors: the qualities of the leader, the nature of the environment, and the personality, knowledge, and interests of the followers. When the minimal requirements for the environment and the followers are met, tools, resources to engage and motivate, a group of well-mannered, talented, ambitious people, talent managers can spearhead greatness. But when those basic elements are not in place, even competent leaders fail. At the same time, incompetent leaders who lack vision and people skills can waste a lot of resources even when those requirements are in place, creating a team full of automatons. So in the end, it's the combination. How do the four follower types do in their careers? The public relations follower. Because of the nature of relationships in politics in most corporate environments, a public relation follower does well. However, his destiny is pretty much tied up to those people in position of power, right? Whose favors they won in the first place. So if something changes and that person is no longer in a position of power, the public relation follower doesn't really have a meaningful string of projects or a portfolio to leverage. So he ends up in a tight situation. I mean, you can argue that people who are able to establish relationships of trust and respect, they can always find new opportunities. The other person might jump into a different company, might pull them in. But at some point, you're going to have to be able to stand on your own, right, with meaningful results. So you can leverage your potential without necessarily having to rely on, other people's fortunes or maybe just a willingness to help you out. So hire guns, because of the quality of the work and the contributions and the results, they usually advance up to a point, but they often get stuck into middle management. They lack the emotional intelligence and the willpower to build relationships, to move into a strategic level. Usually, strategic level positions require flexibility, diplomacy, big picture thinking, basic ingredients that hire gun followers tend not to have. They're really great at building things and delivering results, but the fact they neglect the social component and the relationship component of career advancement kind of limits their potential real bad. The automaton followers, usually they spend their entire careers frustrated, they don't experience advancement. Those are the followers that are most vulnerable to technological and social transformations. Because they don't bring any personal touch to work, they don't have any desire to learn and grow, most companies try to do without them, and sooner or later they find a way. The co-pilots. Usually the co-pilots move to the top of their chosen career, even becoming great leaders themselves. Their well-balanced results relationship orientation leaves a string of Oscar-winning performances that helps to build their brand and gives them access to bigger learning and growing opportunities. The co-pilot's competence and political skills also position them favorably for entrepreneurial opportunities. So if you're thinking about having an amazing career and growing and learning and achieving meaningful things, you got to adopt the same strategic mindset of the co-pilot, right? That's the fastest way to grow, to learn, and get access to key people and opportunities inside your organization. So how does this model change your perspective? Do you still look at yourself and other people the same way? I hope you enjoyed this episode of MBA Bites, a series about things you learn in business school and things you don't. I am Vin Bittencourt, and I see you next time.